I want to thank Jeff Peters a lot. So Jeff has been filming every single talk since day one, and as of tonight, we'll have 40 films come out of the Food Talk series, and he's done every one, and I want to thank you so much because it's all online, and you can go to foodtalks.ca/films and watch every single film that we've done, every single speaker from day one. And you can email it to your friends and share it around the world, and that's what it's there for. So thank you for that. Anyway, I want to go to our wonderful panel of speakers tonight. I've got a microphone I'm going to pass around the room. Actually, a microphone we use for them. So first question, anybody?
Would you consider yourself a feminist in this industry? Like, how do you, sometimes I have an issue. I'm a cook in a restaurant in Vancouver, and I get really frustrated. Someone that I work with calls me sweetheart all the time, and it drives me nuts. And I'm just wondering if you have anything to comment on that. If you feel like you need to like stick up for yourself as a woman, you know, as a young woman in the workplace. Do you have anything to comment?
I'll say it. I consider myself a feminist. For me, it depends on who's calling me sweetheart and how they're calling me sweetheart. It's how I feel when they call me sweetheart. I just opened up a restaurant in Seattle 6 months ago, and like Merri, there are times where you just feel like crying all night, and you wonder, what have I done? And then there are other times you're just so happy with everything. And I remember one guy, you know, he said, "Sweetie, it's okay." And seriously, I took that so seriously, like, oh my gosh, yes, sweetie, it's okay. It's so, yes, I completely consider myself a feminist, a big time feminist. But a feminist with my own definition of what feminism is to me. How do I express myself as a woman? That's what feminism is to me. So it depends on how you feel by being called sweetheart, and if you love it, and if you don't, tell them to shut up.
Mine's not so much a question as it is just a collective thank you, because I've been in the industry for a few years, and I've been looking for just a little spark, and I've been looking forward to this talk for whenever the last one was, a few months ago. And I just want to say that you guys have all kind of reinvigorated something inside me tonight. Just a little bit, just a bit of a spark, and I just want to thank you for that.
Any of your questions? Say it loud.
Yeah, thank you for the talk. And just, I noticed that some of you, Susan, Meeru, or Karen there, don't have conventional culinary education background to start in this industry. So what kind of advice would you give to other people who are in a similar position, who would like to start, kind of thing, like where or how they would start?
Well, I think that I think I'm probably the oldest in the crowd, but I think from our older generation, I think that we were able to do that because we were a bit of pioneers in what we did. But today, at the Lazy Gourmet, I won't hire anybody who doesn't have formal training. And so I think that's really unfortunate in a way. But if you have the passion, you really need to get the training, I think, to get a good position today. Otherwise, you're really starting at entry level, starting with dishwashers and working your way up, maybe helping do prep and that type of thing. And then, prove yourself with your passion and your caring and your smarts, and you can move up, because I've certainly seen people move up, but you're not going to get a position as a cook unless you've got that formal background. And to be perfectly honest, I wish I had a little bit more formal training myself. I think that I would have, I've basically been doing self-taught for years and years and years by using other cookbooks and figuring it out, a lot of different things if I'm interested in, especially working with caramels, working with things that you need to have precision, and that's really exciting to work with. But you can't make any mistakes. You can't be out by 1 degree, or you're going to end up with something you don't want.
I have a completely opposite perspective on this. What are you good at? What are you good at in food?
What do you mean? Well, I usually cook from the heart. So I when I prepare food, I really think about who I want to serve it to, and there's a couple of food, like noodles or burgers that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I usually just focus on those things that I really like.
So what you have to do is you have to go somewhere and prove that.
Okay.
You have to prove it. And that's all you have to do. I've hired Red Seal chefs who couldn't make soup. Seriously. I've hired people from all the culinary schools in Vancouver. You know, going to culinary school, I think probably VCC you get a really well-rounded education, but still you don't know what it's like. I mean, you have a theoretical education, but the way you get educated is by pick the people you want to work with. You know, you want to work with that chef, I mean, and if you think that you have something to offer that chef and you're really good at it, go there and do that for them. And that's how you're going to make your mark, and that's how you're going to prove yourself. Because chefs are always looking for people to make their lives easier. Really. You know, so if you're working with, you know, if I'm a chef, well, I am a chef. I forgot for a second. And I have somebody who's doing an amazing job all around. Oh boy, you are my best friend. You are my best friend. I mean, if you can cook fabulously and you do great things and you can come up with ideas, and they're not just fanciful ideas just because you want to do it and it's like just something weird, you know, that's something that's going to sell. That's really important. Really, you'll go so far because that chef will open doors for you. So you can't be, because you're always working with a team. And you know, and if you can, you know, do things that will make, you know, the restaurant look better, the chef will love you, and that chef will open doors for you. And so really, I mean, you can go to school, but if you think you're really good at doing something, just go and do it. You don't need a formal education. Really, just do it, and just like never stop learning. Try and learn from everyone, everywhere, everything, and not necessarily the Food Network.
Thank you. Any other questions? Somebody's got to have a question. There we go. Loud.
Each of you, what's your favorite guilty pleasure snack?
Let's start with Karen.
Craft singles. I love the way it melts on my tongue. Eventually, 5 minutes later.
That's so funny. Mine is a product called pub cheese. It's this ridiculous whipped cheddar cheese. My mom's English, and so we grew up eating a lot of pimento cheese and things like that. And it's terrible. It's one step above a Kraft single.
Can you buy it somewhere?
You can only buy it in the U.S. It's not available in Canada. I know it's tragic. So it limits my access, which is a good thing.
I'm really the worst at answering this question because, and people don't like to hear it because I really don't have one. You know, it's like as I was telling you, I was raised vegetarian, healthy eater, and I would eat sugar all day. So when I come home, the thing I really want to eat is like carrot sticks and chunks of raw tofu, honestly.
She came in here and started eating a bag of carrot sticks tonight. It's true.
I was like making toffee all day and my teeth hurt, and you know, like, that's what you want, right?
So you said 2 carrots, and so I'll say 2. James's Bella Gelateria salted caramel gelato, number 1, and could be 50-50. And Thomas Haas's double baked almond chocolate croissant.
I've been asked this question so many times. I just don't believe in feeling guilty for feeling a pleasure. I really, but however, this is not a food, but when I am 70 years old, I am going to start smoking. Because what I miss is smoking. I have a stressful, I made it look all lovey-dovey right there, but you know, I have a stressful job. And again, it is those long days, and it is, there's just so much to deal with. And I'm going to add one thing about education. Different educations add to your career. So my master's in economics and third world development makes me a really good businesswoman. So going back to smoking, I got in the habit at the end of the day, I wouldn't eat chocolate, I would smoke a cigarette. And it was the best snack I had all day long. you know, was just really, and thinking I'm so, and smoking. And I did that for about 9 or 10 years, but then I started smoking 1 in the morning, right? And then I was yearning for 1 at 3, and then I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna get lung cancer, stop. And so I stopped, but I figured if it takes you 20 years to die of lung cancer, I'm gonna start smoking at 70, and that gives me until 90, so.
Anybody else? That's really good. So, okay, so I've got some questions here. So, you have Merri and Meeru, you both have women in your kitchen. So it sounds like it's an all-female workforce in both restaurants, pretty much, except it's just the kitchen. So, but the same thing in Seattle. So when I visited your restaurant in Seattle, it was the same. It was similar. So, you obviously both talked about the women force. Have you ever thought of adding a male, or if not adding a male, do you think it's important to have a unisex kind of workforce in your restaurant and kitchen? Or I understand the work environment, I totally get that with Merri, with the environment, but do you think you'll ever get to that stage where you think it's necessary or not?
In Seattle, I've got 2 guys in the kitchen. So Chris, he's cordon bleu trained. From Portland, and he's my kitchen manager. And then I have Chris Santos, who's the dishwasher there, and it works fine. But again, I gotta say, the women are tough. I mean, really, I have nothing bad to say, but at some point, I just realized who can really work those 16 hours and not really get tired? It's the women. So again, I'm fine with men and women. I love the energy. I love men. Seriously, I don't care if it's a 16-year-old boy. It's fun, but it has to work well. I mean, I'm not anti-man. It's just who's the best person qualified for the job, and for me, it was women.
So in Vancouver, it's pretty much...
Vancouver is 100% women, but remember, there's also front of the staff.
Right, of course.
Right? And then our man has such a huge manlyhood to him that he is equal to all the energy of the women.
Well, to be honest, at this point, I really do miss working with men a lot. I mean, it's something you become very accustomed to. There's a very different style, there's a very different pace. Things are very straightforward, they're just, I don't know, it's kind of all out on the table, and when you're used to that for so many years, and I'm certainly used to being the only woman in an all-male kitchen for almost my entire career, it's an adjustment. But something, you were asking about sort of language and that kind of thing, and I think it's something that, I definitely didn't come here tonight to complain or, say bad things about working with men or working in the industry, but there's just a certain degree of casual comments, of jokes, of language, of, sort of subtle harassment or whatever it is that's just so prevalent. You get so used to it, you don't even notice anymore. And it wasn't until I started with East Bend Roasters, and it's only been about 4 months I've been there, all of a sudden I realized I was just relaxed in a really different way at work, in a way that I'm used to having my guard up, and I don't have it up in the same way right now. There are other reasons to have it up sometimes in the situation I'm in now, but in that way, I finally feel relaxed in a way I haven't really felt in a decade. So it's interesting. I don't think there's one that's better or one that's worse. I really enjoy both aspects, but I do think there's a difference.
And then the other thing is, think of how many offices that are all men, and the question's not asked, that you've got all men working in your office, right? And that's where we need to, I think, hopefully where we're going to get to, that no one's going to notice that I have all women or that you're with all women, unless there's a social reason like yours. I think the reason why Merri has all women, we need to know why, but I don't think anybody hopefully will need to know why I've got all females in my kitchen.
And ultimately in the situation I'm in, either that's not something that we would choose to perpetuate forever. You want the world to change in a way that that's not going to be an issue for any woman or any man, to feel threatened in anyone's company over time.
I'm new to Canada, and you all are mostly Canadian. I'm searching for a uniquely Canadian food. I can think of poutine. Can you think of anything else?
Oh, that's interesting.
Blueberries. They grow coast to coast.
But do they have? Don't they have them in the U.S. as well?
Yeah, but ours are better.
At Joy of Feeding, we are going to have smoked salmon. Yeah, from BC Interior Salish, a cook from BC Interior Salish. So it's going to be smoked salmon. So I would say that's probably about the most Pacific Northwest Canadian food you could probably
but
get.
Something that you couldn't get in the U.S. is what I'm
You can't get this good smoked salmon in the U.S., I don't think.
Okay. Yeah.
I think birch syrup is another one. I don't know if you can get it in the States, but it's coming out of trees, birch trees here in BC. You get that at Edible Canada Market. That's right. Right here.
Saskatoon berries.
Saskatoon berries. There you go. Saskatoon. Okay. So thank you for your questions, and thank you all for coming. If you want to talk to the speakers after, I'm sure it won't be a problem. And enjoy the rest of the evening. See you.